this is something we need to look at, that why are we facing poverty during a pandemic? You know, we have innumerable poor people below the poverty line, and the indices keep changing, but you know, we are largely a very poor country. 2/3 of us, you know, don't even make $2 a day, you know. And I just wanted to question how we do, you know, I wanted to get to the bottom of how social inequality works in India. I wanted to question how we do businesses, and it's not just in fashion, it's all businesses in India. But of course, because, you know, fashion was most relevant to me, and it's also so relevant to you know, to the poor of India, because a large amount of our weavers and embroiderers come from the rural sector. They live there, they're minorly employed there. India's textile traditions stem from, you know, its rural areas. And it was most relevant to me to try and nudge people to ask, you know, what is going wrong? Why is there this level of social injustice and this huge economic divide? And I just wanted to do something that would address that. And the whole idea was with it because, you know, the weavers and the artisans in fashion, like many of skilled labor across India, are considered daily wage laborers. You know, they get, when they're busy, when they have work, they get as little as 100 rupees a day. It's way below the poverty line, you know. And I just wanted to transfer, you know, it was a question of how we use money, right? So I wanted to take all that money, complete the circle, give it to them. You know, money is power, you know. Money is the great leveler. You know, the difference between a designer and an artisan is who's born rich. You know, that label comes from money. You know, if I'm born to a privileged family, if my family can pay for my education, pay for my fashion school, give me a little seed capital that I can hire 2 tailors, set up a shop in a garage or my bedroom, I have money. If I don't have that, I have to wait for work to come to me. I have to wait for somebody to give me my order. I can only make yards and yards of cloth. I don't know how to cut it. I don't know what to do with it. All I know is to produce, right? And how to sell it, market it, to create a product out of it. Is those sort of skills I don't have. But those sort of refinement skills comes with education. You know, with everything in the world, women always end up getting the shorter end of the stick. In the weaving and the embroidery community as well, there is a lot of struggle where the women labor is not considered to be an output, so to speak. A lot of weaving, for example, is done in the homes of people, in the homes of weavers, and you know, their sons, their daughters, their wives are all participants in dyeing or using the loom, or some sort of cutting of the fabric, or you know, putting the weft. You know, there's a ball pointing of the weft, you know, to put it together. To the pre-loom process, a lot of it is done by the women, but the weaver is the male person of the house often. The registration of the weaver, and a weaver is never one person, it's usually a unit, you know. So it's his family is a unit, and above him is a master weaver who is always a man, who supports anywhere between 10 to 100 weavers, and by extension the smaller weavers family. So the women of the house, who are equal participants in the labor, receive nothing. You know, the male member of the house will get paid, and that 100 rupees to 300 rupees a day is divided between the family, and you know, it is considered family income. And I think the whole idea of buying from source, you know, going back to appreciating our own history, our own traditions, our own wealth, and we have an abundance of, you know, textile, artisanal crafts. Literally, to be vocal for local, you know, is maybe a new government slogan, but Indian fashion has been doing it for a good many years. So it's a good thing that the government is catching up with us, and trying to popularize that. But I really think it's the only way. And I'm going to go back to Mahatma Gandhi, and I'm going to, he said something wonderful at the time of independence. He said, India will be a superpower. Not These are not his words. He said, the strength of India will come from not mass production, but production by its masses. And this is really the idea of Baradari also. Why don't, of course, the weaver can make cloth, but why can't he make a product and sell that product which people will want to buy, unless we become producers, manufacturers, entrepreneurs, um, this, I mean, we need to do that to close the loop of, how luxury works in India. I think machinery brings a certain sophistication to a product. Machinery brings, numbers in terms of scale to popularize something. And machinery also comes in when something has a demand which the supply cannot meet, right? So I don't want to completely banish a power loom or the idea of machine work, but a handloom should always be over and above what a power loom does, right? So if one of my weavers, Alauddin Ansari, who's from Cholapur outside Benares, he has a maximum techniques of Banarsi that I have known. Maybe it's my limited knowledge, but he's fantastic. He only uses hand-loomed techniques completely. Some of his techniques go back to 500, 600 years. Now, in my eyes, this man is a walking, talking museum. He's, I would even call him a national treasure, him and people like him. He needs to be treated like a national treasure. What he makes cannot compete with what a power loom makes in price and in terms of status, right? So we need to bring the status to the handloom industry. We need to understand that power loom is in its place, and it is for mass manufacture, because we need scale of things. But handloom must be treated like the luxury item that it is.